Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. This is Moriarty's Tea. I'm Ari and today we're going to talk books. It is the end of March. Welcome to April and this is my March wrap up. So for the month of March I read quite a few things, which is good because I didn't read anything in February. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books to talk to you about today. So let's get started. First one I'm going to talk about is Nancy Drew 3 through 5 by Kelly Thompson. It is a comic book put out by Image. It started off really good. Nancy Drew is in a new city with new friends and a letter brings her back home where a mystery needs to be solved. So it started off really well. It was very diverse, had a few POC in the cast, which I was really excited about. We had a black male protagonist, which I was really excited about, and then George was a bisexual woman in this, dating an adorable black girlfriend. And I was really excited to see how this was going to go. However, it was very clear by like issue 3 that the people of color in this were purely props. They didn't really have any depth or growth to them, and they really were just there to prop up the white characters in the story, which made me really sad because it was a really good story. And I was really expecting more, especially from what I've heard about Kelly Thompson. So I don't know if they like cut her story down and we just didn't get the good parts. I'm not sure what happened, but it wasn't great by the end. It also stopped. So while we did get kind of a shoddy wrap up of events, we didn't really get a complete ending. Issues 1 through 3, I really enjoyed. I gave them all 5 stars, but issues 4 and 5, I think they got 2 stars each. I wasn't feeling it, and I was really turned off by the way the characters were treated. In fact, the African-American girlfriend, whose name is Danica, and I actually had to go all the way back to the beginning of the series to find that out, because literally she's never mentioned again in the entire 5 shots. Like, she's there, she does things, I guess, but she is absolutely a background character with no plot, no story. She's literally in the background at almost all times, which is horrible. So that just really didn't do anything for me. So I gave it, the last 2 I gave 2 stars, and let's move on. Next book I read was a novella called Fighting Back by C.C. Hunter. It is part of the Shadowfall series. It is 5.2. I wish I'd known that before I picked it up to read it, because I really enjoyed it. It follows a werewolf and a chameleon who are in love, and the werewolf is having problems with the were council because they only want pure were couples to be together. A lot of trouble and romance and action ensues, which I really liked. It was a very clean story, wrapped up really nicely. It wasn't too long or too short. And I also didn't need to know who the characters were to understand what was going on in the novella, which I love. I think more authors should do that. However, I do wish I had known it was part of a series, because I wanted to learn more about the characters as I was reading them, and going back to the beginning of Shadow Falls is not doing well. I'm sure the story has picked up between the 5 novels, but I think I listened to it for about 2 hours and I was bored out of my mind and I DNF'd it. So I may come back to it later to see what hubbub was about, but I definitely liked Fighting Back better. I gave it 4 stars. Next book on my list was a prequel called Little Red Riding Crop by Tiffany Rice. I picked it up because it was a prequel, so I was expecting, the beginning of things, so then I could just, hop into everything. But it didn't really have any story definition. It was kind of like a smutty one-shot. Girl is a dominatrix, and she needs a day off, and she is presented with 2 weeks vacation if she can find out where the rest of her sex workers are going. She works for a guy, I don't remember his name, in this company, and sex workers have been leaving the company, and he wants to find out where they're going, and they're being swooped up by another competitive sex club matron, I guess. And so he lets her know that she can have 2 weeks paid vacation if she finds out where they're going. And even though she found out where they were going and everything, she never solved it. She didn't ask them to come back or anything. It was just really weird and kind of just thrown together, and I wasn't a fan. I think I gave it 2 stars. Next book I read is This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pritchard, and I actually filmed an entire video about it, so I'll input it right here. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to talk books. So I just finished This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pritchard, which was pitched to me as a group of people that are part of something that they shouldn't have been a part of a year ago, are brought back together with extenuating circumstances to find out what happened. Basically, Clue. And me being a Clue fan, why the fuck not? Let's absolutely read this. So, I get the book on audio. I listened to it about the beginning of last year. Kind of fall out of love with it. I think I was 4 hours into the audiobook. No. I was probably about 3 hours into the audiobook. And then I had to go back to the library. And then I was like, okay, well, that's gone. And then I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood to read. I'm in the mood for some murder mystery type stuff. Let me go see if it's available. And lo and behold, it is. So, today, I finished This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pritchard. And you are about to get my honest-ass opinion because I literally finished it a minute and a half ago. So, what originally was presented to me as a story of revenge is way more of a story of possessiveness. People who believed they owned another and that they're selfish and self-righteousness that stuffed out a life that didn't really deserve it. So let me give you a cast of characters. You have Ruby Valentine, the girl that everybody wants. Red hair, freckles, soft pillows, you know the type. Meet her best friend Juniper, Latina, Cuban, very, very methodical. She doesn't believe in fantasy. She doesn't believe in fate. She is very methodical, very, very logical. Meet Ruby Valentine's boyfriend, on again, off again, ex-boyfriend, Parker. Playboy, rich, big man on campus. His best friend, Brett. Big, buff, boxer type. Gavin, the kind of nerd. He works at the newspaper as a photographer but wants to be a reporter. Just making sure I got my main cast of characters. Okay, all 5 receive an envelope, which is an invitation to a game. They go in, they complete the game, they are able to win money for college. Some of them need it, some of them don't. But they all decide to participate. However, the party / competition is directly a year after some bad shit happened that we don't really know the entire aspects of, but we get into it. I give it 5 stars. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I listened to it at work. I listened to it at home. I listened to it in the car. I was mesmerized. not only by the characters and their growth and just their depth alone, like the things that the characters had to go through and the things that the characters did. Like, I definitely wasn't expecting that in a YA novel. And it was something very, very different for me. Usually when you read a mystery, you got a slew of characters, but only two are really well developed. They're the ones that carry along the story. That's not the case with this. Every character has a reason, a plot for being there, and you need to pay attention to each character in order to solve the mystery. So let's talk about Parker, because Parker and Juniper really pissed me off the most, so let's get started with them. So I'm about halfway through This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pritchard, and it is pissing me all the way off. If Juniper is going to be Nancy Drew, then she needs to follow the facts. The facts are presenting a story that she doesn't like, then you need to back the fuck away. Because if you're not going to do what you need to do to solve the fucking mystery or crime, then you need to get the fuck out of there. Because right now, you're an unreliable narrator, you're a piece of shit human being, and I'm not a fan of you right now. And Parker's ass, he better fucking get what's coming to him, because oh my fucking god. Juniper is really starting to piss me off. Like, to the point to where I don't want to finish the rest of the book. If you have an inkling that someone did something so horrible, so horrific, that you feel the need to go and confront the person that did it, and you suddenly have second and third and fourth thoughts to where you go to a party with this person, then my question becomes, where is your deductive reasoning? Because if you have a doubt that this person did it, then your doubts should be fuel to find out who did. Now you have Parker talking to someone he never fucking talks to, someone with photographic evidence and the ability to do so. You have Brett in the front of the girl's house when you know that Parker is possessive, when you know that Parker will do anything to keep her, when you know Parker will do anything to keep her. Why are you still trying to keep them apart? But 5 stars, bomb ass mystery. I really didn't understand what was happening until about an hour from the end, and all the pieces just started falling into place. It was brilliant. Chelsea Pritchard, you did the damn thing. You did the damn thing. Because I can't wait. So, this is my review. You guys, oh, so much happened, and I don't want to spoil it enough to where you don't need to read it. So much happened. Like, please go read it. Please go listen to it. Like, I'm releasing it right now, so it'll be available if you live near me at my library. Like, listen to it. It's so good. And the cool thing about it is that listening gives you an entire cast. Each person has a voice, which is really fucking cool. So, it's definitely something you should check out. Okay, Future Gabby is back. Next book on our list is Batman and Harley Quinn by Ty Templeton. It was really, really cute. I actually have it here because it's one of the only books that I read that was physical. It was really, really cute. Unfortunately, I had already seen the movie, so the story was something I already knew. Although I think it's really adorable that Harley wants to work with Bruce and, like, wants to be a better person. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the concern she had for Poison Ivy as a character. I enjoyed that quite a bit. What I wish there was more of was this, like, burgeoning romance between Harley and Nightwing. Because I'm a huge Nightwing fan, and that is definitely a couple that they haven't really explored before. And I mean, it's Dick Grayson. He gets around. So why not Harley? That's something I would definitely want to see in future comics. Next book on my list is Miles Morales, Straight Out of Brooklyn. So this isn't the first Miles Morales I read. I actually read Miles Morales Spider-Man by Brian Bendis. I don't like Brian Bendis, but this is supposed to be like Miles Morales' like entrance, and I saw Into the Spider-Verse and fell in love with him instantly, so I wanted to know what it was about. It generally follows the Into the Spider-Verse like story. However, I wasn't a fan of the art in this one, which is done by Sarah Pichelli, I think her name is. I wasn't a fan of the art, which slowed down my reading of this. Also wasn't a fan of Bendis' writing, which also slowed down my reading of this. But I finished it, and it gave me a comprehensive, like, foundation for Miles. And I was like, okay, I like him. Let's see where this goes. I actually got volumes 1 and 2. But seeing as it took me so long to read 1, I was just kind of like, eh. So the Straight Into Brooklyn is like a fast forward into Miles' story. He's already established. He has a girlfriend. Barbara, she's adorable. Let me see if we can find her in here. She's adorable. I love her. I need more of her. Like, I need more of this series right here, because I'm in love. He teams up. There are lots of team ups in here that I wasn't expecting to do different things, and I'm just very much a big fan of team up comics when you have someone who's established work with someone who isn't established, and vice versa. Because, you know, teamwork makes the dream work. And they did a lot of that in this, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much. I also enjoyed the writing. It was fresh, and it was actually up to date, and it felt normal versus white authors writing slang for black characters that just feels forced, which happens often. So, yeah. This felt really good. It felt really fresh. I really liked it. I am very much looking forward to Volume 2 and to read more about Miles Morales. He has become my favorite Spider-Man. The final book on my list is The Black Mage, and this is written by Daniel Barnes and illustrated by DJ Kirkland. And it is really, really cute and adorable. I loved it very, very much. It follows the first Black Mage to go to a generally all-white, like, magic university. And it's this momentous occasion because he's the first black one, and they have so many questions, and this, that, and there, and the other. However, it feels very racist. And I don't know if that's how they intended it, or if it's just general curiosity because these students have never been around a black person before. Like, he gets there and they ask him all these, like, stereotypical questions, like, is it true that black mages use grape soda as a base for their potions? Like, stupid shit like that. And I feel like the author put that in there for people who may not be of color who is reading that, to let them know that, hey, that's not a good thing to ask a black person ever. I don't know. Like, the story starts off back in the day during slavery with, like, John Henry, Frederick Douglass, and Harriet Tubman, and they all have magical powers, and they're fighting off the Ku Klux Klan. However, the white school isn't just a white school. Like, the teachers still look like the Ku Klux Klan. Like, when the main character starts, like, hanging out with Miss Whitehorn, who's, like, the liaison, supposed to teach him, like, the ropes of the school or whatever, and she starts to not necessarily disobey, but just, like, question what's going on. Like, they're like, oh, you've been hanging around him too long, or this, that, and the third, and the other, and it kind of, I understand why it's there, and it makes sense for it to be there, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be there. Like, I was expecting I wasn't expecting the racism to be so prevalent, I guess, like so surface level. I was expecting something like a bit deeper, something that, you know, is now, I wasn't expecting it to be so in your face. I really, really enjoyed it, but because there was a lot of comedy and a lot of levity to the situation, on top of the racism being so there, it almost gave me the feeling of kind of like, oh, isn't this silly? Like, we shouldn't think of this way, even though that's absolutely what we should do because it's fucking racism. So, yeah, I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. But there were definitely some problems that I could not get over. But absolutely read it. Let me know what you thought because I'm always up for a discussion and new opinions. And those are all of the books that I read in the month of March. Welcome to April. I have a lot of time on my hands, as I'm sure other people in the US do. And I plan on doing a lot more content, a lot more reading, a lot more streaming. I just plan on doing a lot of the things that I say I never have time for because I have a job and now I don't have a job. So obviously I have lots of time on my hands. So thanks so much for watching. Once again, I'm Ari. This is Maria Artist Tea, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.